So Antonio Brown of the Pittsburgh Steelers, very dramatic year this year, a remarkable player. He's obviously going to end up somewhere because he's just too good of a player. He's one of the top, could be the best receiver in football. A little bit of a me guy over a we guy, but, wide receivers historically been a lot of that stuff. Guy can absolutely play. But I do find it interesting. There's always a grass is always greener quality. I'll just speak for guys here to men. There's always a better job. There's always a better person. There's always a... And the reality is many times in life, we've all seen this guy. Some guy has an affair and you're like, why did he have an affair with her? His wife's actually beautiful and really smart. I don't get it. You see that stuff all the time amongst guys. I can't speak for women. I can speak for men. Almost every time I see a guy having an affair, I'm always like, yeah, but what's wrong with a wife? Great mom, good looking, smart, there for you. I don't get it. It's the grass greener thing. Guys are very susceptible, I guess, to it. Not going to speak for women, just dudes. Antonio Brown actually has the perfect team. Does Antonio Brown realize it? Story today, he wants to be a 49er. That's not a good fit. What Antonio Brown could really use is a loose, tolerant head coach. Oh, wait, he's got that in Pittsburgh. What Antonio Brown could really use is a wide receiver, a veteran big guy who can stand in a pocket as he runs deep and throws a great deep ball. Oh, wait, he's got that. What Antonio Brown could use is a team that can also run the football, forcing safeties in the box so he's not always double-teamed. Oh, wait, he's got that in Pittsburgh. What he really needs to be part of a team that already has a culture that doesn't necessarily have to build around him so they can win even when he's a distraction. Oh, wait, Pittsburgh's got that. San Francisco's an awful fit. Kyle Shanahan is a rigid, no-nonsense, do-as-I-say coach. Bad fit. Jimmy Garoppolo is a better version of Trubisky, a runaround guy who's very good, intermediate, and under to this point. That's not Antonio Brown's game. The ownership in San Francisco can be flaky, can be sometimes crazed and reactionary to bad behavior. The Niners, let's be honest, when's the last time they had an amazing ground game? Like Antonio, this is the perfect fit for you. A tolerant coach who deals well with stars, a quarterback who, because of his sheer size, can stand in the pocket as you run deep routes and then deliver them accurately, a running game to force safeties away from you and into the box, a complementary receiver limiting double teams, Juju Smith-Schuster, an ownership that is loyal and has dealt with stars favorably for 40 years. This is a grass is greener thing. This is where you should be. If you told me there's this speedy wide receiver, got a little diva, unbelievable talent, runs great deep routes, you'd be like, and by the way, needs a coach who can handle a big personality. That defines the Steelers. Those aren't qualities of Pittsburgh. That defines what the Steelers are. In fact, they are that to a fault. That they're not quite buttoned up. They're a little loose. They're a little too driven by me over we. I mean, if you don't think fit matters in this league, you think Bill Belichick would deal well with Jay Cutler, Cam Newton, Baker Mayfield nonsense? No. Brady and Belichick are a great fit. Passionate, driven, all in, aspirational, can sit and watch film all day. Brady and Belichick are a perfect tandem. DeMarco Murray, behind the Cowboys' own line, led the NFL in rushing. He then went to finesse Chip Kelly in Philadelphia, ran for 700 yards. This whole league's about fit. The whole league is about fit. And Antonio Brown, and he could play anywhere. I mean, he's an unbelievable talent. I would make the argument there's no better fit than Pittsburgh. I mean, this team, the coach, the culture, the running game, the receiver, the complimentary receiver, the deep ball thrower, right up his alley. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
So the Cowboys were slammed nearly all season for being predictable, but that criticism was mostly for their offensive play calling. But in Saturday's divisional round loss to the Rams, the Dallas defense gave up 273 rushing yards. That's almost triple their season average of 95. So So what happened? Well, according to Rams offensive lineman Austin Blythe, the Cowboys were tipping their plays. Blythe told The Ringer they're a defensive line that really likes to move a lot. We had a pretty good tell when they were going to do that. We predicted plus 90% of their play calls.
Yeah, that's not great.
Well, I don't know how it works with week to week in the playoffs. I imagine during the regular season you may mix it up, but I don't know if during the playoffs you're going to change your defensive play call signals from week to week so that people don't catch on. But this is less on the Cowboys and more on the Rams being prepared.
Well, and I also think when you have 14 days to prepare over 7, you can watch more film and you can pick up on the tells, what they call in poker a tell.
Right.
And I think this is harder to pick up on during the regular season, but there's a reason that Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Sean Payton, and Bill Belichick have very good records off buys because they take that extra time and look at how sharp the Patriots and Rams were this weekend.
Right.
That's the best game the Rams have played.
And the Chiefs.
And why? Great coaches, more film. By the way, Dallas is trying to prepare a game plan. They don't have 3 and 4 extra days to look for tells. I mean, that's stuff you get to open a season, off a bye in the playoffs.
Right, and in general, those teams that you mentioned, maybe not necessarily the Rams, but, the Saints and Belichick and even Andy Reid to a certain degree, they're not so much worried about preparing their quarterbacks for that moment. Tom Brady is going to watch an excessive amount of film. Drew Brees is going to do that. I don't know how Patrick Mahomes prepares, but he looked pretty prepared to me. So you can focus on those extra little things.
Yeah.
So for 2 straight years, Nick Foles led the Eagles into the playoffs, and for 2 straight years, Carson Wentz watched. So he addressed the media yesterday and said the pressure of taking the reins back from Foles could come with additional pressure given the success that he's had over the past 2 years.
It could. Without a doubt. You look at that and you could say it could put more pressure. You could say coming into the season there was more pressure, but I do everything I can to block that stuff out. Get rid of all that pressure and anxiety or whatever it may be and just play the game freely. At the end of the day, I can't control those. I can't control some of those things, and what I can control is just getting my body right, getting healthy, and getting myself back on the field to prove the player I can be.
Wentz may be, unfortunately for the Eagles, unfortunately for Carson Wentz, Nick Foles has had some success, whereas Wentz is kind of falling into that Andrew Luck category where he's been consistently hurt, so we're kind of forgetting how good he is.
Yes.
Hopefully that's what ends up happening when he does get healthy. We pretty much all assume they're going to move on from Nick Foles, but I got to tell you, it makes me kind of nervous.
Well, the one criticism...
He's been injury-prone up until this point.
Yeah, the one criticism of Wentz, and it's a very fair one, is he struggled to stay healthy. And by the way, Andrew Luck. Now, Andrew Luck's was mostly, though, about a bad O-line. Wentz has had really good O-lines. He tends to be, and we talk about when you have certain gifts in life, if you have a great singing voice, you'll sing in the shower, you'll sing in the car. Wentz is an unbelievable athlete. And so in high school and college, when he got into trouble, he just takes off.
Right.
You just can't do that as much. And so he tends to be a guy that holds the ball a little longer, tries to... By the way, Aaron Rodgers, the criticism on Aaron has been he tries to make a play, he holds the ball a little longer. If you ever notice guys that aren't overly athletic, Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, they get rid of the ball quickly.
Right.
They know they're not going to extend plays. So Wentz is a play extender, and that's where injuries happen.
But he does have a lot of pressure on him. Because aside from the fact that everyone assumes that he is the better quarterback, even though Nick Foles has had more success with this team and into the postseason, everything's on him now. They won a Super Bowl. You have to win at least a Super Bowl to match what Nick Foles did. Yeah, which sounds crazy because it's Nick Foles and he just doesn't really get a lot of respect, but that's a fact.
If you asked me this morning, going forward, who I like to win the NFC next year, I would pick the Eagles. I still contend owner, GM, coach, quarterback, and quarterback being Wentz, all A. So this morning, I would pick what team in the NFL, the NFC, has an A-plus owner, Packers don't have one, GM, Super Bowl winning head coach, and an A-talent quarterback. Bears don't have an A-talent quarterback. I would pick the Eagles next year. If I do it in the summer. I usually like June, July, I pick the NFL. And I don't know who they've drafted, but this organization has shown they can draft and get free agents. Philadelphia is still, to me, despite what we just saw,
No, they're
should be the favorite.
They're going to be in it.
They
next
should
year.
be the favorite in the NFC next year.
By the way, I don't have a good singing voice, and I still sing in the car and in the shower. I used to sing in church when I was little.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
then you have a singing voice.
No, I hit puberty, and then now I have this awful
okay.
squeaky thing I have going on right now. Finally, after Adam Gase's tenure as the Jets' new head coach got off to a little bit of an awkward start during his press conference yesterday. It wasn't Rex Ryan in 2009 predicting a trip to the White House, but Gase did make it clear that his number one job will be driving Sam Darnold to the next level, and that Darnold was a big reason that he took the gig.
I'm excited because this is really the first time I've been able to get with a guy this young, this early in his career. You know, we're going into year 2, and I mean, he's hungry for knowledge. He wants to be coached, which when you have a type of player that does have the physical traits, this is an exciting thing for me to go through.
Everybody's making fun of his intensity in his eyes. He's just an intense dude.
I mean, he can see the future with Sam Darnold. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
That is just uncalled for.
I had to do it. I mean, it's a good point, though. He's worked with Peyton Manning. He's worked with Ryan Tannehill.